What's up, everybody? I'm Zach Bellis, and you are listening to the Just Josh podcast.
Welcome to the Just Josh podcast.
Who the fuck is this guy? Hey, who the fuck are you? Huh? Who the fuck are you?
This whole thing's a little weird.
Never you fear, laddie buck.
Welcome into the podcast. Today we have Zach Bellis in the studio. How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for coming in so last second.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So for those out there, we had a cancellation today, and I was like, oh man, well, I had everything planned, and I didn't want to just not, do one. And so Zach was nice enough to come in here, and I've actually been meaning to have him in here anyway, so it kind of works out.
Perfect day, yeah.
Yeah.
Who canceled? Who was supposed to be here?
Just another local artist.
Okay.
I don't even want to say his name just because
Okay.
I don't want him to think I was like throwing him on the bus or anything. But we had a cancellation, so it worked out perfectly that you were able to come in. So
Yeah,
I really do
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I try to get as many local artists and people that I like. I've seen you in a couple different bands, helping out Joey and when you were doing that with him. But you've always been a solo artist and had your own band, and just really like your music. I enjoy music that is different in the sense of it's original. And I really feel like your music doesn't sound like you're trying to be something, or it doesn't necessarily fit into one genre. To me, anytime I hear your music, I'm like, okay, that's Zach Bella,
That's a great compliment. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No, we try to keep it original. We definitely have a lot of influences, but which are all over your walls. They're staring at me right now. All of my past influence, a lot of my past influences. But.
Yeah, I used to. So the wall behind you, that's now all the soundboard and stuff like that. So that used to be like the wall behind me.
Okay.
And the problem was, and the reason that you're the first one that I'm doing the video with is it was too distracting.
Right.
And even that's too distracting for the guests because I'll be talking to them and they'll be looking at that and looking around. So I'm trying to actually simplify everything in here as opposed to make it too grandiose.
It's nice though. I like it.
Thank you, dude.
It's got a very cool vibe in here. I could hang out in here for a while.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of what I was going for. It's funny, every time we do an intro, it's the same intro. People are complimenting the place and we're talking about it, and I don't want to keep doing it over and over.
Let's do a different one.
No, you're good. We're going to keep it. But the point is though, it's nice because I can just move that table to the side. I can put all my recording equipment on it. Put up the drum set. I got my Marshall stack right there, and it just turns straight into a studio. So you got the podcast set up, and just a couple different things you can have the studio set up. And it's nice when bands come in because if you're coming through town and you need a place to stay, you don't want to pay for a hotel. I got 5 bedrooms here, so everyone can have their own bedroom. Come and do the podcast episode. I'm 20 minutes from all the venues downtown or most venues in the area. So yeah, it's a nice little digs and trying to get this going, trying to get a couple more people in here, but I do appreciate anytime some of my friends. So what do you guys have going on as far as this year? I know you have some tours coming up and you're working on some records.
Yeah, we're doing. We're going to be hitting the road in April, April 22nd through July 18th. We're going to be on the road. So it's 88 days, which is the longest tour I've ever been on. And I've been on some long ones, but and we're playing mostly every day. So we're kind of starting in Ohio and then moving through Illinois, Chicago up to Wisconsin, and then into South Dakota. We go through Colorado 3 times actually, and then all the way up to Seattle, down the West Coast, San Diego, and then back again. So
that's awesome. That's a really big tour. And did you guys put this together yourself? Do you have a booking agent?
We have an
agent.
agent. No, we have an agent. Who's actually located in Jakarta.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. So we have to do Skype calls at kind of interesting hours. It's right now that it's daylight savings time, it's exactly 12 hours apart. So it's not too bad. You get a little bit of overlap there where he's both awake and I'm both awake. So but he's been a joy to work with, man, and he's a real
So he's in another country, right?
He's in Jakarta, yeah.
So when he does all these booking stuff, is he from America? Is it just he has that connection?
Yeah.
Okay, so
so he was in Oklahoma, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Omaha, Nebraska. He was in Nebraska
311 hometown, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, he was from Columbus, so near Omaha, but
Right.
Nebraska in any case.
Right.
And then he met his wife on MySpace.
Nice.
Back in the day. And
That's awesome.
so she ended up having to go back to Jakarta, and then they're kind of just stuck there because current immigration,
Oh.
policies. And
Can he come back and forth, or she just can't? So
she
he's
can't.
okay.
Yeah.
So he's
he
staying
does.
there.
He'll come back
Oh,
and visit his brothers every once in a while.
I
I think he was in America for like Christmas time.
Oh, okay.
And around New Year's, and then.
Okay, so it's not one of those like foreign people calling you on the phone like, "Hey, book you," and then, or,
No.
it's he
No.
has the experience and
So-
the knowledge. It's just the situation.
It did seem that way at
It
first.
did. That's
So
what I thought you
there
meant.
was a little bit of like, there was
Gotcha.
definitely a courtship. We had to kind of go back and forth a little
Right,
bit and
right.
kind of do some due diligence there.
Do your
'cause
research.
It is weird, but he's been incredible.
I mean,
Just
he
incredible.
set you up
It's
with
like
those a lot of dates.
every single date is booked, and
Yeah.
now we're working on the second one with him. We're going to be doing one in the fall that starts in like mid-September and runs through up to Thanksgiving.
That's awesome. No, that's great, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being busy, for sure.
No, and it's what we need to do,
Yeah.
It's like our best way to show off what we do is live.
Mm-hmm.
So as many shows we can do is as many places. It's what we need to be doing right now. So it's very cool.
Awesome. And then you're also working on some records as well.
We're working on 2 records right now and a couple singles. So Tom McAteer, the drummer, and I started last year, or it was like late 2018. We started recording some songs, and then we were just in there. We've been kind of over the year getting in there for a couple days here and there as we can like afford more studio time. And we're heading in there on Tuesday and Wednesday to kind of put the almost finishing touches on the first record. So we're gonna have a record coming out in April, right before we leave for the tour. That's gonna be called "Where Am I?"
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be 7 tracks, and I'm really excited about it. So we're finishing that one up, and then in March we'll go in and start finishing up a record that we're hopefully going to put out in the fall, but I'm not going to guarantee that that's going to happen. We're going to put it out when it's ready, but
Right.
if it could potentially be ready before the fall tour.
Mhm.
If not, we'll probably wrap it up after that during like Christmas time, and then have it out for the next kind of maybe like the winter or spring. But yeah, so we have 2 albums planned out in the works, working right now. And then anybody who's not familiar with my music, we have 3 other albums that are up now that are available. And recently, actually last year, my record label just celebrated 10 years.
Congratulations. Yes,
Thank you.
SMB, right?
SMB Records. So it started with the band Ground Score. We released 2 records with them, and then
Why does that sound so familiar? Are they still around? Do they do that, or is that
No.
one of your bands?
that's one of my bands. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm involved in every one of them musically. So it kind of just started as like a legal thing to
Mhm.
to separate.
It's smart.
that. Yeah. And
you have to do that these days.
But I'm not looking for submissions right now,
Yeah, yeah.
but like I am kind of interested in getting into more production work.
Mhm.
So
Cool.
maybe not doing like a full release with somebody else, but
Maybe a couple songs, some
yeah,
singles, something like that.
Ease into kind of it. Yeah,
Mhm.
so,
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I would love to be on that side. I don't quite have the equipment now. I can make nice demos, and I
Right.
can do, I could do stuff that I could release, but if I really, really wanted to release something where I thought people were going to pay for it, obviously I would need to go to a real studio and work with people. But I do have, enough that I can do everything here.
Yeah.
I got my interface, and even this can plug into something as well. And my drums, I just got brand new heads for those, so they sound great.
nice.
Yeah.
What kind of kit is that over there? I can't see from here.
So it's a Mapex.
Okay.
It's the maple and birch
I
combo.
like the colors.
So
Cool.
it's very clean, but yet it's got a great tone.
Yeah,
And then
birch is cool.
the snare, when you bought it, you actually got your choice. There was 5 different snares you could choose from. So it came with just the normal standard one, but then you could upgrade basically for free, which was weird. It didn't make sense, just depending on what you were looking for. Now, going back, I wish I had gotten the birch/maple snare so it would match the kit.
Right.
But I've always been a rock and a punk kind of a drummer or style as far as drumming. Guitar, I can play anything. Drumming, I'm not really a jazz musician or anything like that. So I got the Daisy Cutter, which is the hammered steel. Okay. So it whips. I mean, that thing is loud as shit. And it sucks because sometimes when I'm playing, unless I'm recording into something, I'm just playing live, the snare way out.
Just
sounds, my toms and stuff like that. But I just got to learn to hit lighter, I guess. I don't know. Also have some stuff on YouTube. It's called Food, Sex, Music.
The music has only been for 2 years. So it was about exactly almost 2 years ago, I started Food, Sex, and Music. And it was just kind of like as a sort of side project to do a little bit more video work that wasn't like music videos and studio videos and talking about being in the studio videos. It's just kind of like, I just wanted to do something a little bit fresh, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, so I decided to keep it kind of a wide net. And so we do food, sex, and music, which are three things that I figured I will never get sick of these subjects. They've been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I love to cook, and I love like food culture.
I get sucked in some of those Netflix and YouTube channel food things, the Mikey Chan or Mike Wang or something like that.
Which, and like the chef's table and everything.
Yeah.
And that satisfies two things for me, which is like high quality video. Nothing's cooler to look at, like Planet Earth.
Yes.
And like chef's table. Food,
yes.
Yeah. That's shot in like really high, 8K, 4K, whatever. It just looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of do something that was kind of like a divers, drive-ins, and dives, but have a little bit wider of a subject range, and also talk about the places that they don't go that I like. Okay. Because they always go to like the same places. I mean, it's the same places that kind of buy the spot.
Yeah.
Is what really happens.
No, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to go to the places that I already like, and I'm just going to talk about them, And so right now we're working on a piece about Seven Drum City that I'm really stoked about.
That's cool.
It's coming along. It's looking really good.
Awesome.
But like the video, we were talking before we started about video editing. It's just like a time suck. And and people don't really understand that either. And so they're constantly like, where's the video? Where's the video?
Yeah.
And it's like, I do this all for free as a side thing to already running a record label and then having the band and everything full time. So it's like, when it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be there when it's done.
Well, that's
so we're working on a piece about Seven Drum City right now, which is a spot in DC that's really cool. They started as a drum lesson facility and now have expanded into doing other instrument lessons like voice and guitar and keyboards. And also they have a rehearsal space. They have rehearsal spaces for bands, and now they have a music venue there as well. And they do these like potluck jams every first Sunday down there.
Oh, that's cool.
It's such a cool community.
Dude, I remember stuff like that from like being a teen, going to the punk scene or doing different stuff like that in general, going to churches.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just a cool community that they have going down there. They have this cool thing called Flash Band where people can do like, it's like they call it speed dating for bands. And yes, thank you, sir. And a lot of like people can go down there and then you like kind of just jam with these guys. If it's cool, you like it, you form a band. If you jam with these guys, if it's cool, and then you kind of can like form a band that way. And a lot of bands have formed that way, and I wish that there had been something like that when I was trying to get a band together, because it was like looking around on Craigslist and shit, or like asking your friends, like, hey, you know anybody who's looking,
It's so different, man.
Yeah.
It's so different.
It's crazy.
Like before, sometimes you would just have to deal with the people that you just knew in person. Sometimes it wasn't even looking on Craigslist,
Absolutely, yeah.
When I was real young.
Yeah. Yeah, I put up a flyer at Guitar Center or some shit.
Something.
Like, hey, what's up, man? I'm a bass player. Like, how old are you?
Yeah. I wish I had this technology when I was younger, because I wonder what I could have done when I was like my most impressionable and excited and passionate about it,
I agree, but I'm so glad there's not just endless hours of video footage of me from like college and high school. And definitely not middle school. I would not want to have like my best friend from middle school have like a phone that had 20 hours of me doing dumb shit on it. You know? Like, so I don't know. It's a give and a take. Like I feel very fortunate that we didn't grow up through those like formative years with somebody with a camera in your face.
No,
the whole time.
I agree.
It's like,
I definitely love that. I used to go, like, I wouldn't call someone. I would just run over to their house and knock on the door.
Yeah.
And then we would go out and play outside.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's nothing
Bike
like it is
everywhere.
today.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I still had like a Razor or something in college. Like, I didn't have
Really?
a smartphone until
Yeah.
after college or the end of college.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks because I wish I did.
Where did you go to school?
So I went to a few places. You mean for college?
Mm-hmm.
So I started at UMBC, and I
Okay.
did that till about my junior. I was almost in my senior. It was basically the end of my junior year. Long story short, I failed this one class.
Okay.
You can only fail it twice.
Oh.
So once I failed the second time, and the first time was not my, like, maybe it was just like, it was a hard class to begin with. It was like one of the upper engineering classes. Long story short, they kind of screwed me because the teacher did nothing to help me. The second time I worked my ass off and I actually passed the class, but she failed me on one test because I guess I didn't do it the way she had taught it in class. I had to go to the student center, which was taught a different way. And even though I showed all my work and it was the right answer, she failed me, which made me fail again. So at that point, I had to take like a recovery class or something, like an academic. So I had to take the class in order, and this was just in order to then hopefully be able to get back into the class for the third time. However, if you didn't pass the third time, you have to reapply. So
Oh, wow.
so all the stuff I had done, or it's something like you can't take it more than 3 times
Right, okay.
within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Which means I would have had to wait a year, and I couldn't take any more classes for that year because that's the class I needed in order to take the other ones that I needed to graduate.
Right.
Because at that point it was all upper level. So long story short, I was getting really frustrated, and they really kind of screwed us. And I say us meaning my parents, because they were helping me out there. So I decided to leave, and I went to UB, and I started doing business administration there. So UB actually ended up being the best college I ever went to, in the sense of like the professors really cared. Like I remember sitting in class, I didn't even say anything. The guy's like, "Do you need help? I can sense you need help." And I didn't think I was making a face or anything. And he totally took like 10 minutes during class to help me. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, no one's ever done this before. And then, but I was like, UB, it's not really known except for like certain, like their law school's kind of known and like some other parts of it, but like business is not. So then I went to Towson. I finished up at Towson because they're like sister schools.
Right.
So I basically just got into Towson. Like, you just transfer. And I finished up there. Towson ended up being one of the worst schools I ever went to, which sucks.
Oh no. Why?
Yeah, the professors don't care.
Like it.
They're UMBC, those professors, they're on a whole different level because they're like a nationally known engineering school, computer
Okay.
science, stuff like that. Like
I didn't know.
they're top 10 for
Wow.
engineering
I didn't know that. That's
and
cool.
value. Yeah.
Yeah. No shit.
And that's why I went there. I had this whole welcome episode, but I deleted it because it's too hard to talk about my whole life up to this
Sure,
point,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So I went to, but UMBC was really well known for that, but they're paid to do research and get grants. They're not paid to teach. Like, teaching for them is like the 10th down their importance list as far as what they're getting paid to be at UMBC. So that's why those professors honestly didn't care, because they're like, you know, you're just a number to me. My main job is to do research and to get grants and money for the school. And then teaching is just how I'm making extra money or part of the deal. UB was great. You can tell they're very professor oriented. Towson, I think they're just worried about their sports now. Like, it just feels like most of the money and the stuff that they were advertising wasn't academics.
Right.
It was, hey, check out our football team, even though they're not even that great. I mean,
Sure,
like,
yeah.
whatever. But I got that, and then currently I'm working on trying to go to finish up at University of Maryland and get my MBA.
Okay.
I'd started younger, and I was in college. The biggest struggle I had is I had a lot of opportunities to go out with bands, some bigger bands and stuff like that, just through friends at that point. But that was when I was in my mid-20s and early 20s.
Right.
So I was always struggling with, do I just pack up and go and quit school? But I was so close, and I always told myself I wanted to have that backup plan. You know, I wanted to make sure I had something.
Right.
So I continued with it, and I would just travel and network that way, you know, go to the different things while I finished up. Then when I got out, I was like, okay, now I can do it full time. But now I'm like late 20s, early 30s, and I'm just different. You know, being on the tour side is not the same as it would have been for me 10 years ago.
Right.
you know, and I love it. I love being on tour, but when you're at my age, you're like, you know, it's frustrating when you see things that could be done better, you know, but you have no way of affecting that change just because that's above your pay grade.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've always, I've kind of I found a nice balance now, because I really, for the last 2 years, put a lot of energy into the touring and trying to be patient, wait my turn. But now that I know what I want to do and where I'm going, it's much easier. But yeah, that's where I went to school. I think that's what the question was, right?
Yeah. So, you know, we're actually looking for a tour manager.
I mean,
there to your listeners, and if you know anybody, send them our way. We're really looking for somebody right now to do, you know, do the merch and camera work. But it could definitely that will grow into a more traditional tour manager role.
I mean, about all these reunions coming back around. So we have My Chemical Romance, Rage Against the Machine, even some bands that weren't broken up, but like members are coming back. Red Hot Chili Peppers, got John Frusciante back.
Love it. I love John Frusciante.
Yeah, me too. I totally slept through it, and I was working, so I couldn't even use my phone. And I missed out on the Rage tickets.
Yeah.
Because the only thing left were the charity ones. I'm not paying $400 to see Rage. I've seen them 3 times already.
Okay.
I'm very lucky that I got to see them when I was younger. And then I might have seen them at a festival. I'm pretty sure it was a festival when they got back together for charity after they had broken up. But that was still like 10 years ago or like 7 years ago or something like that. Maybe over 10 years ago now. I keep forgetting it's 2020, man. I keep thinking it's like early 2010s, and we just went through, I literally just finished college in 2007, and it's only been 3 years removed from college, but it's
2020.
Yeah, this is, ugh. But union tours and stuff, so I'm lucky that I've seen a lot of these bands that are getting back together. Yeah, I can't pay $400 for Rage. I know it's going to charity, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Even 311 and Incubus, I just got those tickets, and
that's cool, man.
That was like 140, 150.
Yeah.
They're pretty high up there.
It's getting up there, man.
What happened to 20? They used to do like $20 HF Festival tickets, dude. I've been trying to find good footage of HF Festival to play, like when guests come in, just so they could see the madness that
was
like
so long ago.
Yeah, but it was like
so long ago,
dude. That was such a big part of my childhood, like MTV, HF Festival, Matt Pinfield, Weasel.
Yep. I was listening to Weasel's Wild Weekend on the way up here. So.
Is he still around? Is he still?
He's on WTMD every weekend.
Here?
Weasel's Wild Weekend.
Where is that? On
WTMD. That's it's in Towson, and it's the local. They're the ones who do First Thursday. They put on First Thursday at the Canton Waterfront. They get really great bands down there.
Okay.
I saw Lake Street Dive down there. They had Robert Randolph and the Family Band down there.
I like them.
A bunch of people. They get really great acts down there.
That's awesome. Yeah,
It's a great station too, on commercial free.
That's awesome. I'd love to listen to it. Was it AM
They
FM?
play our friends too. They play like Scribe. They play Kavusi.
Is it AM
Pressing
FM?
Screams. It's 89.7.
89.7. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Fuck yeah! Did you know you could play Weasel in like NBA Jam back in the day? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's how popular they were. That's how like national like. That's how.
Oh, HF Festival was the shit. I could take.
And then they just changed over midday. Like I was driving when it happened. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I kept pressing the button, and I realized like it had changed over. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Old soul. But yeah, I guess the Weasel, you could play him in NBA Jam, and when you catch fire, like he was horrible, but like he was really skinny, and he had this like weird shot. But yeah, you could be him. You could unlock him as a character. And when he caught fire, he was really good, and he was just sinking threes. But who else? Like I feel like there was other people in HFS from back in the day, like the females. That one girl with the curly hair. But yeah, HFS was just iconic. That was such a big thing for me, and there's like zero footage, minus maybe some of the newer ones. When it was like Jimmy Eat World at Merriweather, you know,
there wasn't a lot of cameras running.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of cameras back then. I don't even think, honestly, in like 97, 96, 95, because the first one was in like 94. I'm pretty sure I saw 94 was like No Doubt and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that one. I was there.
Yeah, so that was like one of the first ones, and I don't think there were cameras on phones at that point, or if they were, you were paying a lot of money.
Or people had pagers. I think.
Really?
I think
Even
I
still
had a
then,
pager.
yeah. I had a phone, but it was just like a note. It was just it wasn't even it was just send and call. It wasn't like a screen or anything. It was just call. Gotcha. You couldn't even text. I don't think it was just calling. I don't know. I can't remember at this point, but
I loved it. I could take one metro train, the Orange Line from East Falls Church to the Stadium Armory, walk right down there, go have the best time of my life, get back on the train, go down to East Falls Church. If you fell asleep, you'd only go like 3 stops over, get right back up, 15 minutes out of the way, boom, mom pick you up.
Yeah, my dad would take me, and then looking back, I feel bad because he was a trooper. I would just like leave him.
Oh, he'd go with you?
Yeah, he'd take me, and then he would just sit in the stands and like bake in the sun while I was off like drinking and getting high.
Man, those are the best. Oh my God, those are great.
Actually, my friend came on my friend Jordan came on, and he remembers, and I forgot this until he said it, and then it still kind of is like, it keeps coming back to me, but I'm just so different now. But he remembers me hopping in with them and driving like 2 hours to see Linkin Park. I didn't have a ticket or anything, so I was just going to buy one or like try and scalp one or something like that. But I guess I ended up I just snuck in. Like we all walked together, and I'm pretty sure we just walked in. He says I went first, so I might have just gone first and just kept going, and no one said anything. Because back then they didn't have the scanners and all that, so it was still just the print ticket. Right, so it's and I guess I just acted like I was supposed to be there, and I just walked in and kept going. And then I went in, and then I went down
Lincoln Park.
Well, we already talked about it. It's not like they're hurting for money.
No,
yeah, it's not like they're hurting for money. I would never get, and I told him I would never get away with that now. I'm just not that bold, I'm just, I probably just didn't give a shit back then, but now it's like, I try to
different world,
I try to be a good person in a strange world,
Yeah.
And I always say this too. I never know if it's because I'm older, so you're just more aware. You become more jaded. You're not, whatever. And, but when I was younger, it seemed like there was a lot of good people, and then you would have a couple bad apples and be like, oh man, what an asshole. But now it's like everyone's an asshole. And then you're surprised when you meet a nice person, like a genuinely nice person that.
It does feel that way.
And it sucks because we live in a world where if you're not cutthroat yourself too, then you're going to get left behind, in the sense of, I struggle with being raised a certain way and wanting to live that way. But then, like, if someone's out there talking shit about me or something, especially if it's not true, they're always like, well, it's below you, and I do that. But then it's like, it doesn't really help me either, Being the bigger man doesn't help, especially if people don't know both sides. But you don't want to, you don't want to do anything. But I never do anything publicly. And it's weird to me, people are like, well, I heard someone said that you said this. I'm like, but did it ever come out of my mouth? Have you ever heard me say it?
Right.
And I bet you if that person was standing here in front of us, would they say that? Would they be as bold to say that I said that with me standing here? Probably not. Who knows? Yeah. I tend to try to reach out to other managers to work with their bands and to see if we can connect and get everything. Because to me, I've always wanted, starting EUM, the purpose of that was to be an umbrella for a bunch of different managers and bands and stuff. Everyone's an individual, your own entity, but together, by pulling each other's resources, we can have something stronger than just being an individual manager for, a band or this band or that band.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like Red Light Management does.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of crappy people taking advantage of a lot of bands, and that's the whole reason I started doing this, is because I wanted to be the complete opposite of everything I saw. I really, really want to do right by the band. I really wanted to make sure I had the hardware and the degrees to back up what I was saying. And, I've been on the tour side of things, so I could see that aspect, which a lot of managers don't. Some of them don't. Now, I know managers go on tour with themselves, but they're not grinding every day. They're not sitting there trying to do all the other things that come with being in a band and the frustrations that come with being in a band, So I think having that kind of makes me more well-rounded overall. But again, I got into it, and I like helping new and independent artists because that's when it's the hardest, and I think it takes more. And it's one of those unforgiving and unthankful jobs, because especially when you're working with newer talent or amateur talent, because more than not, 9 out of 10 times it's not going to work out. And that's because either they're not putting in the effort, they don't have the product, whatever, it's just harder. But I also get the most out of it because, again, I really want to help make it as smooth as possible for them when it's the hardest. Because looking back, like once they get to a certain point, like 10 years down the road, and we're looking back, like, remember when we were sitting in my office doing the podcast and trying to think of things, and we had like $0, and now we have this. Like, this is what we're doing. That's more important to me, than I see managers that'll have like 5 or 6 or 7 bands. I'm like, there's no way you're doing what you need to be doing for these bands when you have 7 of them. The most I'll ever have is 2, and one needs to be bringing in steady income, and the other one needs to be consistently working to get better. Right. But yeah, I wish it wasn't that way. I guess is my point of that, because I really feel like this is the one industry where if we all work together, it's limitless to what we could do. Like if we all work together to find one singular way to kind of streamline how you get your royalties and how you make money and get paid, there needs to be one national database that everything is accounted for. Something that we can do. I try not to bring too much. I really want this to be Joe Rogan style, in the sense of like the musical Joe Rogan. Even though his background's in MMA and whatever, he brings on all different types of guests, comedians, whatever. And it's just a conversation, about life or whatever. And that's what I really want this to be. But I don't want it to be too management focused. But while we're talking about it, the whole reason I started the app and the reason I want that app to be something, and that's where I'll make my money, is because I never want a band to ask, where's our money or what's going on here? Everything is in there for you, And I've seen finance apps. I've seen business apps. I've seen everything, but there's nothing specific to music that incorporates merch and all that other stuff, So I've been working on that. It's really expensive. It's taken a lot of my savings. And, hopefully when we get that done, it's just another way. And there's even more levels to it, like for upgradable versions and paid versions and stuff, even having that, being able to get on a short list for tour and networking with venues through the app, just because, it has something you can keep your numbers, you track your numbers, you can put in the venue contact. So anytime, when you show up to, or you're trying to book a tour and then you have full tours worth of numbers with contact info, exact numbers and stuff like that, I mean, it makes things so much easier, even if you're an independent band doing that stuff. But so I'm working on that right now. And that's really what I think is going to separate us from other management companies out there. But again, I want to stand for something. When I tell bands, like, what's going to separate you in this watered down industry, well, what's going to separate us? To me, it's that it's not about the bottom line. It's not. Now, don't get me wrong. We still need to make money. It's a business, and I'm trying to help the bands become a business themselves. Even if we don't end up working together forever, and maybe we only work together 2 or 3 years, but you go on and you're a better band, and then another band's like, well, how did you guys get to this point? Like, what led you here? How did you know to do this? And like, well, we worked with EUM Management and Josh, and we learned all this stuff from him, and it's been really great, and it's really helped us in our career. That's going to go much farther as far as putting me out there and getting me in front of other people than if they're saying, well, he was a nice guy, but like half the time we didn't know where the money was, and like, and I see that too often. I see that so much, and it just irks me. I'm sorry. I just cut that short because I was like talking forever. So I was trying to get you in there.
Do you ever get out to the conferences? Do you ever make it to any conferences?
So I do, but I also think sometimes some of them are a waste of time. It depends.
Lot of them are wasted time. I went to a good one I think it's in May. It was either March or May. It was in Nashville. It was called the Music Biz. It used to be called NARM, which is the National Association of Music Retailers. NARM. I can't remember. But so that was a great one. There was I met a lot of really great people there. And it definitely, I like being in rooms where I feel like I'm towards the lower end.
Exactly.
Which most people don't. They like to be in rooms where they're kind of the king.
Right.
And that's great, but I I like going places where I'm kind of, if there's like 10s, 8 and 9s, then I'm sort of in the 3 or 4. I'm not a total loser, but somebody that's like, an up and comer or there to grow, because it is where I'm at. But also, you're just gonna learn so much.
Mm-hmm.
When you put yourself in those situations, you learn so much more than when you're the smartest person in the room, and you hear that all the time. But
it's very cliche, but it's very true.
That one,
and it's very, especially in this business.
That one, I think, for the business side of things, especially if you are like a music retailer or somebody that's into publishing, artist management was huge there too, though. I ran into so many artist managers, which you didn't see a lot of artist managers 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
Because there was no money.
No.
Now there's money.
Yep.
There's money to be made. So now there's a lot of people are like, I'm a manager. I'm going to manage you. We're going to manage you to the top, buddy.
No.
Yeah,
well, that's...
And there's people, anytime that there's money injected into a system, you have to feel two ways about it. It's a good thing, and it's also a scary thing, because it's going to attract a lot of disingenuous people that are there for just the money. So if you think about when the music business was at its height in the 70s and in like the 90s, all of a sudden these companies that had no business running record labels were buying up all these record labels. So like Coca-Cola owned a record label, and EMI, which was like a missile. They used to make missiles in the World War or something.
Something crazy.
So all these people are Seagram's Gin. The guy who ran Seagram's Gin was like, I'm going to buy Warner Brothers Music, or something. So, and it all went to shit because they were there to squeeze the cash out of it.
Right.
And it was an investment at that point. It wasn't a passion project. It wasn't about the music. It was about, there's money here.
Right.
Best Buy is going to sell CDs.
Right.
What the fuck does Best Buy care about CDs? They don't.
Yeah.
But they make money.
Right.
So they're going to put them in the store.
Right.
Do you think they care that they don't sell them anymore? Maybe a little bit, but probably not. They're like, well, now people now when you walk in, you see Google Home and Nest and, and Ring and all that stuff. And that's what people care about now.
Yeah.
Nobody wants fucking CDs.
Yeah.
Trust me, nobody wants fucking CDs.
It's weird that I'm still behind the times, because if you look here, I still have a 50+ CD changer from like the 90s.
That's awesome.
I still use it with all my nice equipment, and it still works. So why give it up? It has the radio on it. I can put CDs.
And it's high quality. It's much higher quality than streaming.
I can still play all the Spotify and stuff through here because that's hooked up to my computer.
I love it.
So,
but you have to know that you're in an extreme minority in that sense right now.
I know.
There's a lot of you out there, but not as many as whatever, dude. I'll just get Spotify.
I never thought CDs would go out of style, in the sense of I threw mine away before, and I wish I had all the originals from like the 90s, because they would, to me now, would almost be like vinyls are to some people.
Yeah.
Now
collectibles.
Yeah, I'll tell a quick, really sad story. I was dating this girl, and my dad had these vinyls. My dad has like original press Beatles albums, all that stuff, The Doors, The Who, stuff like that from when he was a kid. And, or when he was younger, like in his mid-20s probably, like 20s, 30s. And so I wanted to show her that I was really into her. So I let her borrow my records, which was probably the first mistake. My dad refused to give them back, just refused to even return a text or anything. And she knew how valuable they were. I finally got her dad, because her dad was an awesome guy, and he felt bad, so he helped me try to get the vinyl back. So I finally got him back, and I was like, oh, thank God. And I thought, because I didn't know what to tell my dad. That was the worst part. I was freaking out. It took me so long. I didn't want to say anything until I tried to get him back. So I finally got him back, and it opened, and I realized it was half of them, and all the really valuable, nice ones, like a Beatles first print Beatles White album, nowhere to be found. And that thing's priceless. I'm not even talking money wise. To me, it was my dad. That's priceless. Yeah. I would never sell that. It would never be anything. Someone could offer me $60,000 for it, and I wouldn't sell it.
I love that record.
Yeah, it's a great.
Personal.
So yeah, that was really shitty. I learned my lesson in that. I learned my lesson with that, in the sense of why not just be a decent human being? It wasn't that serious.
Right.
It's not like I made a huge deal about it, but I did say it was important, and I would like to get him back.
Yeah.
because it's not like I gave it to her and then I tried to take them back or anything like that. It was known that I was like, yeah, you can listen to them and borrow them. Yeah, exactly.
Back,
yeah. But
bummer.
nah, it is what it is. It's kind of been a bumming episode. I'm trying to make these segments like funny and like more, I like having conversations too. I don't want to make it too late night TV, where we're having like segments and doing all that stuff. Like I do want to incorporate some of that stuff, but that takes a whole production team. That takes producers hitting up people ahead of time for me and getting all these segments together. I can only do so much as far as the convo goes. But again, I really appreciate you coming in.
So yeah, we got released greatest hits record in December.
Oh, nice.
SMB Records celebrated 10 years in the music business.
So it has a collection of all the different stuff that you've done,
all
right?
different artists, and it has a few songs that hadn't been released before. So there's a track on there that was only on YouTube previously that was with me and Miss Sarah.
Oh,
who's
love
a great
her. She's great.
She's amazing.
Oh, she's awesome. Maybe we should try and have her in here too. I'd love to have like you, Joey, and her, and some of the other local ones, and have like almost like a little round table.
Yeah.
Of all the different local artists. That would be real cool.
There's a few tracks with Joey on there too that we had previously on YouTube. There's one that's with me, Joey, and Scribe together that wasn't previously released online. And then there's a new track on there called Home that we got a music video in the works for. And check that out. That's the most recent release that we have.
And they can get that everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Get it everywhere.
Awesome. Play a little bit of Home?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is the single Home from Zach Bellas out on SMB Music.
Got a little of everything. My hands are clean. My head is empty. Visions of the past, they tempt me. I know that I always win though. She said she's only a friend to me. She's running out of lies to offer. Calls me once to say it's over. And crawls in through my open window. I'm coming
All right, yeah, that's really good, man. I like that one.
So we
that's
recorded
cool,
that at the Magpie Cage Studios with Jay Robbins in
awesome,
Baltimore.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that's why we've been working on the rest of the records. But we got this one out as a single for like this special release.
Awesome.
And Drake King on there playing the trumpet, and then we also have Eric Pindell there a little bit later with a monster guitar solo.
No, did I fade out too soon?
No, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Okay.
So, but
I didn't want to play
go
too
back
much.
Yeah, everyone go back and check it out. So now you have like a little teaser.
Right.
Check it out.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah. PRS guitars. Shout out 1710 drums.
I didn't even realize that their factory was here. For some reason I didn't realize that they're from here, right?
Love them.
Yeah.
Love them. Oh my
and they're
God,
just great guitars, and they really hook up a lot of the local artists.
They do. They really do.
They
do a great job. So it's interesting because I was just
they
talking
give nice
to our
discounts.
guy, Rich Hannon, love you very much.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his title, it's not just artist relations. Most people are artist relations. His is artist relations and development. And I think that's really their thing. Is they're like, let's get these instruments in people's hands. Who knows who these people might become? Maybe they're just bedroom guitar players, but maybe they might blow up on Instagram. Maybe they do a TikTok or something, or maybe they might go on tour for the rest of their lives, and people see them playing and they go buy one. You only have to sell a few guitars to make it worth. Only like 5 or 6 people have to be like, "Fuck, I want that Starla."
Oh yeah.
And be like, "Where do I get one?"
Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
love them.
Yeah, I've been waiting. I need to replace my Ibanez. It's pretty old. But it's done me good for so long. So
Yeah,
it's like hard to get rid of. Like it's not my original guitar, but the first one I ever got was actually a really nice. I got a nicer Squire, but for a first guitar, like when I was really young, it was a great guitar. It was like black with like black marble, and then everything was gold plated.
okay.
But it sounded great. I know it's a Squire. Like now, there's some really like you can get a 200, 300.
Yeah,
But some of those Squires look nicer.
Yeah.
They look sweet, and then they also play well. Now, obviously, it's not a Telly or anything like that,
sure,
but
sure.
it's still for a beginning guitar, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah,
But I do want to upgrade to either a PRS or something a little bit lighter than my Ibanez.
yeah.
I don't know if it's just the way I tune my strings, but my buddy Wes came in with his PRS.
Sure.
Do you know Wes Anderson?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he came in with his, and his played so smooth.
Yeah.
Like I haven't ripped in years, but on his it was just easy.
Like good setup on a guitar
Mhm.
makes a huge difference. Getting it set up really good is.
I think it's just that the strings I have on there are probably like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And never
Yeah.
get played, so
That's
they're
way
probably
too old.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish. Look, I would love to get back into music in general. It's just that realistically, I think I'm more offered at this point. I have more to offer as far as on the business side to really help people, as opposed to playing in a band. But if anyone ever needs a drummer or a
They
guitarist,
always do.
yeah,
They always need drummers.
I was gonna say drummers is something that I see a lot of turnaround, depending on.
There's not a lot. Yeah, there's just not a lot of them. There's just not a lot of them. There's a big barrier entry. You buy a guitar and an amp.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap, but
Yeah.
drums and stands and sticks and the cymbals. Oh my God, cymbals are so expensive.
That's why I had to get the pack there, and it stinks because I told myself with this one I would really go all out with the cymbals because that's a huge part of it. So you get nice cymbals.
Which ones do you use?
So I use Zildjian,
Okay,
but it's not the Z, it's not the A's.
Okay.
It's like a mid range, so it cost me like $1,700 for like 4 of them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it was like a mid to high range. There were ones that were like $2,000-$3,000, and there were ones that were like $800.
Yeah.
So I got the mid range ones right around $1,500 to $1,700. So they sound pretty good, but
Yeah.
I have a mix of some old Sabians and stuff, and the ride that I have just sounds way better than the Zildjian.
Yeah, Sabian's good stuff.
Before you came in, I had my whole kit set up, but it just takes up too much room when people
Yeah.
come in here. So it's always, I have to do one or the other, which sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun, man. Yeah, shit. I don't think unless you have anything else as far as like something interesting. I wish I had like a segment or something. The 2 segments I have are mailbag. I can do rapid fire questions where I ask you questions like quickly and you just have to give me the first thing that pops to mind. Or I also have the rant segment, what I want to start doing, and people can send in voice messages
Okay.
and rant, and you get like a 30-second rant. So you have to keep it to 30 seconds and you can rant.
Okay.
But I have to advertise it. I have to put it out there.
I would just say, that we're a touring group. We like to get out on the road, and we finally have our team together. So, look out for us in your city. And if you're not using bands in town, if you're a fan of music and you're not using bands in town and you like live music, it's a really good tool to find where your favorite bands are. So give us a follow there. Look at us on our website, www.zachbellasmusic.com, ZACHB as in boy, ELLAS, music.com. And we're going to be coming to a city near you, and look out for our records everywhere. And thanks for having me very much. And
Yeah, no problem, dude. Thank you so much for coming in so last second and doing this
Yeah,
with
my
me.
pleasure, man. Thanks
And,
again for
we'll
having
have
me.
to have you back in either with the full band, and you guys can do like a little acoustic or a couple songs would be
absolutely,
great.
yeah.
Because I have plenty of mics and stuff. You might have to bring your own mixer if you want, but
No
everything
problem.
else I got And then and then just have everyone back in, and maybe again I'd love to have a local artist roundtable, because I think that's just cool to get different artists, especially from the local scene, together. Because a lot of you guys play together and a lot of you support each other, and it's a good way to connect and get
a very
stuff
supportive
done.
scene here in Maryland.
It really is, and we have a lot of really good bands coming out of here, past and present. You know, there's been a lot of big bands that have made it out of Maryland.
A lot of talent, yeah, and a lot of talent that just sticks around.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
They don't need
exactly.
to go, so.
All right, man. So thanks so much. Drive safe, and we'll see everyone next time.
All right, thank you.
Yep.